There's a mysterious power in these notes. Hi, thanks for stopping by. Last time I told you about our hero Link and how he departed his childhood home to begin his adventure. And this time I'd like to talk about the next chapter in the story. And maybe share another poem. We'll see. In this next part of the story, Link has found himself inside the Hyrule Castle town and ventured into the actual castle itself to introduce himself to Princess Zelda. And she confides in Link that dark have been her dreams, foretelling of a great and terrible storm that will soon sweep over the kingdom, stealing the sacred power held within the Temple of Time and swallow all the known world. This sacred power being the Holy Triforce, which was said to be left behind by the three goddesses of creation, and whomever claimed it will have their wishes granted. And I always really liked how they dealt with the creation myth in this story, where it's focused on the three goddesses, and starting with the goddess of power, or fire, Din, who formed the earth, and it was this kind of rough, jagged rock, lava planet, essentially. But it was the firm foundations of the earth upon which the other goddesses could build. So then came Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, who brought water and sky and law onto this, lava planet. And then you had Farah, the goddess of courage, who brought life to uphold this law that Nehru brought. So the three kind of working in harmony to go foundations of the earth, water and sky, and physical law, and then life itself, plant life, animal life, human life. The three of them working in this triadic harmony, which was just a really cool beginning of the sort of mythology and creation of this fictional universe. Zelda knows the storm within her dream to represent a man in her father, the king's service, a sorcerer named Ganondorf, clad in black armor hailing from the deserts in the west, the very man who also cursed the great Deku Tree in our last chapter. But Link, like Princess Zelda, is only a child, and despite her taking this warning to the king, she is not believed and dismissed, something adults are known to do to children from time to time. But the princess has a plan to enlist the help of Link and take the Triforce into her safekeeping before Ganondorf can set his plan into motion. The three magical keys are known as spiritual stones and are needed to unlock the ancient door inside the temple to claim the Triforce, the first of which is already in Link's possession. And so Zelda sends Link to retrieve the other two. Shortly after, Lady Impa, the guardian of the princess, teaches Link a rare melody, one only known to the royal family. And with his newly acquired ocarina from his friend Saria, he learns Zelda's lullaby, so he might prove his connection to the royal family, to the servants of the kingdom while on his quest. And she tells Link there is a mysterious power in these notes. Again, just like last time, another phrase that stood out to me as a child playing the game for the first time. How could notes of music contain power? And as a matter of fact, I would say there's a mysterious power held in all forms of music, not just this one melody. When I first played Ocarina of Time, I was beginning to learn how to read and play music on the recorder in my elementary school music class. And what I discovered in the years that followed was indeed how the notes in music do contain great power, such as the power to express oneself through singing, performing, or dancing, composing. It's also held in some spiritual beliefs that the breath itself is holy. Our tongues, our voices, which use that breath like the reed of an instrument, are each a unique expression of the divine, just as pure rays of white light split apart to form the infinite variety of wonderful colors that surround us. So too are the notes of music, and coupled with it the power of passion of rhythm, a steady beat like the beating of our hearts, music is a part of us down to the very core. And this is shown in what happens next in the story. Link climbs the Great Death Mountain and enters a cavern village where he finds a society of mountain-dwelling rock-eaters named Gorons, where he tries to acquire the spiritual stone of Fire Goron's ruby. But even though he's admitted to the city and is allowed to enter the Goron leader Darunia's chambers using his newly learned melody, Darunia is in a furious mood and refuses to speak with Link, and so Link is at a loss with what to do. He eventually goes back to the forest to ask Saria for advice, and she teaches him a new melody, one known by very few. more joyous and upbeat than a lullaby, and when Link plays that song for the stone-hearted leader of the Gorons, he suddenly bursts into dance, his anger dissolving, and with a clear mind and a glad heart, recognizes Link as a messenger of good intentions. And what better way to show the nature of music? Something that has a tremendous pull on our emotions, to bring us through deep sadness or quiet comfort or joyous dance. The many dizzying, clashing forms of the world brought into alignment, and for the duration of a song, all becomes unified in a wonderful synchronicity. And that's just, again, a great sentiment, along with the previous chapter of Don't Be Discouraged, the one of the mysterious power contained in the notes of music, which is true, I think, for most, if not all, forms of music. The very nature of music is to feel a deeper connection with the world around you. It's a sort of a meditative practice in a way of feeling the beat, of singing the melody, of performing harmonies with, if you're singing with other people or performing by playing an instrument. What strikes me about this chapter is how, again, going back to the mindset of childhood, it's almost in part defined by all the doors that are closed to you, about how all the adults say no to the things you ask for, or how you don't personally know how to do things. You want to do so many things, but you don't know how. And when Link goes to the Goron city in the mountain, there's a literal closed door, which he opens through this new song. But even then, the door is open, and there's a really powerful, effective image of having this, towering adult figure, arms crossed, glaring down at you, refusing to cooperate or even listen to what you have to say, and not knowing what to do about that. Not only kids, but adults and all sorts of people deal with stubborn figures of authority who don't want to listen to what you have to say and don't want to cooperate with you. So that feeling of, from a social perspective, not knowing how to reach someone can be very challenging. You acquire those skills as you grow up, and you learn how to talk to people. But when you're younger, and like Link, age 10, it's not clear how to bridge that gap. We see a brilliant use of music here. Music is such a profound way of breaking down barriers, social barriers, mental barriers, emotional barriers, and getting through to kind of an underlying unity between people. So it seems a really good message in a coming-of-age story to say that, you have all these doors in life, figuratively and literally closed to you, and through music, some of them can open. Not all of them. Not all doors will open with music, but some will, and some that you might not expect to have opened. I think one of the brilliant comedic beats of this chapter is how unexpectedly this towering, angry, ogre-like giant just breaks into dance. It was so funny to see as a little kid playing this game. Just how that could change this angry man's demeanor so quickly. And then from that on, you basically become friends from that point in the game. And your relationship grows stronger throughout the game in a really well-told way that I look forward to getting into later on in later chapters. But for now, I just love it because it makes a great first impression on this relationship between these two characters that continues on in the story really well. Music has this just wonderful capacity to inform, enhance, and even somewhat modify our own emotional states. When we think about some of our most beloved movies, for example, like for me, the Lord of the Rings trilogy has, well, I would say it's the best film score of all time. You could argue that, of course. It's my favorite. It's right up there with a lot of other great scores like Star Wars. It's really hard to disassociate the films from the scores because the music is so profoundly impactful in all the various scenes. I mean, you could play the score, the soundtrack, and picture in your mind the emotional just drama that's happening in these scenes between the characters. And that's the sign of a really great score, is when You can feel the emotion of the scene as you're listening to it with no picture in front of you. Again, illustrating the profound, mysterious power that music contains. And then there's the participatory aspect of it. One of the most important things, I think, that you can do when you're growing up is learn how to participate in the creation of music, whether that is learning how to play an instrument, learning how to sing by yourself or sing with others, or by learning how to dance and express yourself, through that as well. There are all sorts of ways to learn how to express yourself through music, or I guess that the fourth would be composing, writing your own. And if you can do, any combination of them or all of them, I mean, it can be hugely rewarding. There are all sorts of ways to participate in music. It could even be as simple as just singing by yourself if you want to do that instead. I do that as well. But it's a really cool thing to learn early in life, is how can I use music through reciting someone else's composition or making my own. How can I change other people's moods, improve their lives in some small way? How can I unlock doors for myself, and in general make the world a more colorful, wonderful place? It's a great lesson in this early part of the game. And so I couldn't help myself. I wrote another poem to describe this part of the story, this chapter, and I had so much fun with the last one that I wanted to give it another shot. So I hope you like this one. A day and night had hardly passed when I had crept through castle gates with hatching birds and stacked milk crates to Zelda's hidden garden. And there, past rows of violet blooms, where wafts of honeyed lilac looms, Princess Zelda foretold the doom that she and I must answer. Her Lady Impa then appeared. She dare not leave me unequipped. With fingers pressed up to her lips, there came a lullaby. A clear, sweet note hung in the air, like scarlet silk suspended there, a melody so rich and fair my heart began to sing. And I in turn began to play, and followed along as best I could. With my flute carved so lovingly from wood, I learned the sacred tune. The princess beamed while Impa spoke. Mysterious power lies in these notes. She then brought me across the castle moat and sent me toward the mountain. I had a lot of fun with that one. I'd just like to encourage you as you go about your day and your week, whether by using the spoken word in its infinite tonality and rhythm, or by the rhythm of breath and the movement of the body, or by the very act of making and performing music itself, to recognize the mysterious power contained therein and the magic that you wield by doing so. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers.